I saw a reel on Instagram and I actually sat and watched it. I will actually post the reel for you guys so that you can take a look and see, what I'm talking about. And if you have a couple moments to go through it and take a look, very interesting.
Oh God, are you dead? You took the mark. Oh my God. I didn't want you to die. You took the mark. I can't believe it. You took the mark. Listen. I love you. You don't have to die. You're my best friend. I can't. You know I can't. You'll die. No. I won't. Goodbye. No. No. No.
We've all made our sacrifices. This is your final chance. Take the mark.
Let's say a wretch like me, I once was lost, but now
we all know about the mark of the beast. Any believers who have even remotely had any type of Bible study or anything like that, we know about the mark of the beast. We hear about it, and there were people who were saying that the jabs were a part of it and all of those things. In theory, we get it, but do we really get how serious it is? And are we actually prepared to rebel against this? Because we have to rebel against it. So when it happens, are we actually prepared to say no? I want to read you Revelation 13, verse 16 through 18 real quick. He required everyone, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to be given a mark on the right hand or on the forehead. And no one could buy or sell anything without that mark, which was either the name of the beast or the number representing his name. Wisdom is needed here. Let the one with understanding solve the meaning of the number of the beast, for it is the number of man. His number is 666. At some point, the newer order is going to come into place, and at some point, there is going to be an Antichrist that comes into place as a beast, and at some point, there will be a requirement for all of us to have this mark in order for us to survive, in order for us to buy things, in order for us to sell. All of you that are entrepreneurs, all of you who are not, are we prepared for that? Like, I know we might think that we are prepared, like, oh no, I would never get this. But then I think about 2020 and a little bit, after the pandemic and all of those things when they began to happen, and jobs were saying, hey, no, well, you can't come back if you don't get this. And there were people who were totally and absolutely against it, did not want to be a science experiment or anything. This is what they were saying. And yet they got it because their livelihood depended on it, because they worked hard to get to the positions that they were in, because they wanted to go and be able to freely, go to concerts and start back out living, because, there were some places where you had to show your card showing and verifying that you had this. So people just went ahead and did it. So if we are so easily manipulated into doing something that we technically don't want to do, but we are coerced and persuaded and almost bullied into doing it in order for us to live, survive, and have any type of quality of life. Like, if we give in so easily to that, and this is not even anywhere near close to what's about to happen at some point, are we really prepared, y'all, for the persecution that's gonna come with us saying no to this? We're going to have to rebel against everything. We're going to have our family members telling us to just go ahead and get it, man. We got to be able to get this money. You worried about the wrong stuff. You're not going to be able to go to the store and buy anything. You're not going to be able to go buy food. You're not going to be able to go buy clothes. You're not going to be able to buy things that you need for your house. God forbid you have a child and they need things all the time. Think about having a fresh baby and they need Pampers consistently. They need, formula if you're not breastfeeding, or they need special type of water, baby food, things like that. You are not going to be able to get those things for them because you will not be able to buy or sell. What do? Like, I know that we hear these stories and we hear the Bible and we read about it and we think about it, but do we really have the tools and the preparation? Are we really mentally getting ourselves war ready? Because we are going to be pretty much, it's going to be put in our face that, hey, you need to worship this. Hey, you need to put this on you. You need to wear this or else. And are we prepared to actually, and not in theory, because so many people say, I'm ready to die for this. I'm ready to, sacrifice myself for this. But are we really? I see so many other religions where they are considered radical for their beliefs, and their religion of choice is not something that I adhere to, but the devotion that they have. There are people who are willing to put their life on the line for the things that they think are helpful to their cause, to their movement, and to their ultimate purpose. We've seen it, unfortunately, firsthand in many ways in this country of US and all around the world, really. So when it comes to us, we're so meek and mild. We barely even want to go into a public place and tell the gospel. We barely want to make a noise about what we believe to be right. So how are we going to face the adversity that is going to come when it is time for you need to get this mark, or you are no longer considered a part of civilization? You need to get this mark, or you can no longer be in your apartment. Only people with the mark can have your apartment. Only people with the mark can have credit. Only people with the mark are able to operate vehicles. Like, are we actually prepared? And I can honestly say that I am not fully prepared for that type of adversity. Thankfully, I did not get the jab. I did stand firm on that. So to me, that shows me that I do have the capability to push back if need be. But it's just terrifying to actually think of having to potentially lose everything because I refuse to bow down to something, refuse to mark myself with this. Like, I really want you guys to understand that we can't have that mark. If we get that mark, in Revelations 14 verse 9, it says, "Then a third angel followed them, shouting, 'Anyone who worships the beast and his statue, or who accepts his mark on the forehead or on the hand, must drink the wine of God's anger. It has been poured full strength into God's cup of wrath, and they will be tormented with fire and burning sulfur in the presence of the holy angels and the Lamb. The smoke of their torment will rise forever and ever, and they will have no relief day or night, for they have worshipped the beast and his statue and have accepted the mark of his name.'" This means that God's holy people must endure persecution patiently, obeying his commands and maintaining their faith in Jesus. "And I heard a voice from heaven saying, 'Write this down. Blessed are those who die in the Lord from now on. Yes,' says the Spirit, 'they are blessed indeed, for they will rest from their hard work, for their good deeds follow them. Revelation 13 is showing you that this is what is going to be. This is how it's going to happen. This is the mark. And then in Revelation 14, it's explaining to you, if you have that mark, baby, you are marked. You're marked for a fiery eternity. So here on this earth, we have to prepare for persecution. Like, we have to understand that there is certain things that have been predestined and predetermined. We cannot sit here and say, oh, I love the Lord and I know he's going to keep me, because he is going to keep us. But it's not going to always look the way that we think it's going to look. You think God is going to keep you, meaning that, oh yeah, I know the law and everybody says that you got to have this mark in order to continue to live in civilization, and everybody's lining up to get it. But I'm not going to get it. But I know God's going to keep me. You thinking that God is going to keep me means God's going to keep me in my place. God's going to let me keep my car miraculously. God is going to let me, this is the world's way of doing things, but that's not what it means. God is going to keep you, but that doesn't mean that you're going to still live the same lifestyle. That doesn't mean that you're going to miss out on the persecution that's going to come from this. If you look back at a lot of this is for another episode, but if you look back at a lot of the mighty men of God, mighty people of God, they did not have the best ends. I need you to really get in your Bible, guys, because I don't want you just thinking it's going to be peaches and cream. This part here on earth, our treasure is in heaven, but this part here on earth is not going to be roses and easy peasy at some point. And maybe it won't come in our generation. Maybe it's building up and it'll be after we're gone. Who knows? But there's going to be a time, we're slowly seeing this world. We're seeing how things are going. There's going to be a time where you're going to have to choose ye this day who you will serve. And that's going to make or break you for eternity. So if you couldn't pass up those good benefits and that good job and that good this for the temporary flu that they had out here scaring us and fear-mongering us about, then what are you going to do when you can't even buy anything? You don't have a credit card anymore. You don't have a debit card anymore. You don't have a place to live. You don't have your job. Your job is definitely out the window. How are you going to feed yourself? How are you can't even if you do make money, you can't buy or sell anything. So now you and a bunch of other people who are willing to stand up and say, hey, no, I'm not going to serve the statue. I'm not going to get this mark. You guys are going to be the ones that are going to have to go out and make your own civilization, make your own barter system, make your own farming. But guess what? Who's to say that you can even get seeds? Who's to say that you can even have plants and soil? Who's to say that you won't be persecuted no matter where you go? Because the agenda is to get as many people to bow to the will of the New World Order. And I know that a lot of people don't like to talk about these type of things. They just want to talk about the abundant blessing, prosperity. But there is persecution that comes with being a child of God. And we need to understand that, expect it, know how to deal with it, and prepare for it. I'm sorry, y'all, but that's the reality of it. And once I saw that clip, that video, I was like, oh, this is real deal. This is real deal. Like, I am not ready. And so now it's my responsibility to get ready. And so that is what I'm going to focus on, getting myself ready so that I am prepared to say no, and I am prepared to stand on business, and I am prepared to lose all of this stuff if I have to, because this stuff is not worth it if it's going to cost me my soul. We see how it ends for these people who sell their souls for monetary gain. Imagine you sell your soul for monetary gain and you still lose the monetary gain. They're raiding Diddy's crib. They're coming after him. This was y'all boy. I thought this was y'all boy, right? There is no deals when you come to the devil. There is no honor among thieves. The deals are not going to stick. So guys, I just putting this out here as a warning. Get in your book, get in your word, talk to God, get some revelation. We got to get ourselves strong, fortified, and ready, because this is not just going to be peaches and cream, y'all. I need y'all to understand trials and tribulations are going to come. War, famine, disaster, wrath is coming at some point. We've already started to see some of it, and that's small scale. But even beyond that, even beyond the wrath of God, we have to understand that there are things that are coming that has has to do with the Antichrist. This mark of the beast is something that we all know about, and we all walk around saying 666 is the devil's number. But what are you going to do when they already are like trying to put marks and put your chips in here and all this other type of weird stuff that they're trying to do, trying to put what do you call it, those little VR things? It's a lot. But what are you going to do when you're faced with that decision? What are you going to do? I think about Daniel in the lion's den. He got thrown in there for what? Not worshiping what they wanted him to worship. I think about, did Daniel have faith in God? Are we going to have faith in God? Are we going to say, okay, I'm sorry, and just do what they want us to do? Are we going to be like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Are we going to be like them in the fiery furnace? Are we going to actually be able to have that much trust in the Lord that he's going to get us out of it? But even if he doesn't, I'm not going to bow to the things that you're telling us to do, because I don't agree with it, and because I know that it is idolatry and blasphemous. Are we going to have the ability, or are we going to say, you know what, King, you right, my bad. Where you want me to bow at? Where you want me to pray at? What statue? Because the way people were acting when it came to 2020 and the occurrences that happened, that was just a test run to see how obedient and how pliable and how much they could manipulate you. And some people passed the vibe test and some people didn't. But at the end of the day, we are going to have to pick, guys. So I pray that we all find a way to expand that mustard seed of faith that we always brag about and make it bigger. Thank God that's all we need is the mustard seed. But if we can make it bigger, because it's going to be needed. So there's nothing wrong with your mustard seed, but try to cultivate a relationship with God where you are sure about him and where your faith is growing and growing and growing. It's okay to start with a mustard seed, but don't stay there. I hope this was something to give you guys something to think about. I really, really have been thinking about it myself, and it's something that I am working on trying to figure out how that looks, what that looks like, and what is the plan. Now, I'm not planning too much because at the end of the day, God has everything figured out. I can't plan. I'm not God. Do not worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow will worry about itself. But we also have to be wise. We have to be wise. And if I do have a plan, it will be a plan that the Lord has put in place for me, and prayerfully for the other people who I loved, who are willing and able to endure the persecution that is surely to come. It is not going to be acceptable. It's already almost a bad word these days to say you're a Christian. You have to say that you love the universe and all things are eternal, and you have to say, you can't say you're a Christian. You can't say you love God, that you love Jesus, and that you love Christ. People turn their nose up at you. That's gonna look like a parade compared to what's coming. But anyway, guys, I've talked long enough. I hope you all have a good one. Get in your word. Revelations, read it. I'll talk to you on the next episode. Bye.